The Week in Bible Prophecy, a Prophecy Watchers podcast.
Well, welcome to the podcast. Mondo Gonzalez here in studio with Nathan Jones from Lamb and Lion. And here we're going to talk about a few things. Welcome.
It's good to be here, Mondo.
So you are going to be speaking at our conference in Orlando. We're going to remind everybody, for those that haven't got a seat, we sold out. We have 888 people.
Wow. Okay.
But we still have, of course, room for our for live streaming. So if you're listening to this and you want to be a part of the live streaming, you can, prophecywatchers.com. But one of the things you're discussing there is technology and really the end time. So kind of give us a couple minutes here, or maybe a summary of why technology is important in the sense of biblical prophecy.
Well, because the Bible's filled with technology. I mean, you can go all the way back to Adam and Eve, and how did they garden? Well, they had to invent tools. They had to make clothes, so they needed to sew things, which is textiles. They built cities. Tubal-Cain was a great city builder and forger of iron. They created musical instruments. We tend to think that we're so modern, and everybody back then was so stupid. But they were much brighter than us, and they had less technology, but they made what they had based on innovation. And so what is technology but the fixing problems and making stuff? We tend to think, technology is this real complicated thing, but it's just fixing our problems. And that's a good thing. And so I don't think people have to fear technology as long as it's in the right hands for the betterment of mankind and society. In the wrong hands, technology can be quite a fearful thing. So what I'm going to do in my presentation, The End Time Sign of Technology, at the conference is explain that God is the source and the provider and the giver of information and technology. I cite, for instance, the Manhattan Project. They built the atomic bombs in World War II. Many of the young scientists in their 20s said they would wake up with inspirational ideas day after day after day, and they didn't know where it came from. Well, as Christians, we know it came from the mind of God. He was ready for us to have that technology. I'll then go through all the different technologies in the Bible. And I think the part that most people wait for is they want to learn about what technologies the Bible prophesies for the future. And we'll go in through, I believe, 9 different categories.
Yeah. It's interesting because a lot of, I think, interpretation is based on deduction, logical inference. And what I mean by that is, you go to Revelation 13, talks about economics, the mark of the beast, people buying and selling. And so we recognize that, well, the Bible doesn't specifically say, in the end times, thou shalt be a cashless society. But we recognize that by inference, we recognize, well, what is the only ways that maybe somebody could enforce a buying and selling? It would be easier through a digital system. We also see in Revelation 11 talking about the 2 witnesses being seen to die. They're there on the streets. Their gifts are given. But it says the entire world sees them. And you're like, well, how in the world does this happen? So I want to talk about that because one of the ways that when we look at those passages, again, from an inference perspective, we go, well, are we there yet? Well, 500 years ago, or even 100 years ago. But one of the things I've been watching lately is all of the nature of satellites. And what I mean by that is like global satellites. We talk about GPS and other things, but more as it relates to like Starlink, as an example, Elon Musk. There's several companies that are working on this. And let's talk about that. What will global satellites do? I mean, Elon Musk has over 3,500 just as of right now already up. The next best is OneWeb. They have over 500 satellites up. How is this going to help fulfill what we understand as prophetic elements?
Well, I read just a few years ago that NASA was having trouble with SpaceX and all shooting rockets up because there's so many just clutter, garbage floating around the earth that they have to time it so that, you can't go as fast as it goes and hit a satellite or something and not blow up. So they're having a harder and harder time with all that space junk around the planet doing that. But a lot of those satellites are communication satellites. And one of the end time signs that we read in Daniel 12:4 is that knowledge and travel would increase. Well, obviously we've seen in the last 100 years, I love it when you go to YouTube and you look at those old videos of, say, San Francisco in 1906, and there's more horse-drawn carriages than there are cars. There's no street lights. And now today, where we're shooting in rockets up to the moon and things like that, I mean, that's incredible. And our knowledge due to computers and the processing power. But another wonderful sign of technology in the Bible is evangelism. And so I think in part, all this communication technology that we have today is being used to get the gospel out all around the planet. Matter of fact, it's wild when you watch, say, for instance, videos of people in Peru, like these tribes up in the Andes Mountains, and they got cell phones.
Yeah.
I was in Nicaragua just 10 years ago, and they had cell phones and big screen TVs well before I had a smartphone.
Yeah.
And so it's connecting people and bringing people. When I started as internet evangelist at Lamb and Lion Ministries in 2007, I remember a statistic that said that we were reaching about 2 billion people with technology and the internet. But then when everything started integrating in smartphones, it went up to 3 and 3.5 and 4.5. And now they're talking about possibly in the next few years, 6 billion people accessible through the internet that we can get the gospel to.
Yep.
So the Lord is using that as the great last push to get the gospel out to the world. And of course, we know that other technology has a bad side. It can be used for constant monitor and tracking and following. I mean, if they can see a dime on the ground from way up in outer space, they know where you're going. There's nowhere really to hide.
Yeah, I find it interesting because with all the latest, you see the success of Elon Musk and Starlink, and he's got over 1 million subscribers now as of December. And they are, again, his goal is over 40,000 satellites, which of course, as an astrophotographer, it just makes me cringe because
every time you try to take a picture of something, some satellite goes across.
And I have, like in my images, I have a way to process those out, but there it's like, oh, there it goes. And there's certain times of the day, certain latitudes, that are worse. But nevertheless, we look at this and we go, okay, here is this technology that will now allow, they're working on, T-Mobile just is partnering up with Elon Musk this year.
Interesting.
To put into place global satellite phones, way different than what we've seen in the past, which were kind of clunky and really worthless. But the ability to have phone in the middle of the jungle and to be able to be connected and I would say watched, or again, here I am watching on my phone. We're not there yet. So the idea of watching the two witnesses from the middle of the jungle of Africa, we're not there yet, but within a few years, that it will absolutely be possible to fulfill what we see in Revelation 11.
Yeah, absolutely. The idea is that the world is connected. I know a lot of talk with Elon Musk and others as the purpose of connecting everybody is for education purposes. Yeah. We want to get the internet to these indigenous tribes, and so they can connect and learn and have the same opportunities as everybody else. But at the same time, like you said, it also connects everybody to a global system. And as we all know, the global World Economic Forum wants total control of the world, and they have to use technology to do it. So it's got its good side, but it can also be used.
Exactly. I'm a pro tech person. I love tech, no doubt. But definitely. I think in this sense that, I tend to think that, again, I'm not a prophet by any means, but I tend to think that Elon Musk and Bezos and Gates and even several people in China, that these are the 10 kings, or the 10 influencers they're technocrats. That there's going to come a day, you imagine Elon Musk with all of his technological advancements. We're going to talk about some of the biomedical stuff in a minute, but the Antichrist comes to him one day, and we know from the biblical reference that the Antichrist makes a deal with the 10 kings. You give me, let's make a little negotiation from Revelation 17, and we'll come to an agreement, and I'll allow you to rule with me for a certain period of time. But what do you have to offer? And so they're both going to have this exchange, and it seems very fitting in my mind that these 10 kings, because the word basileus doesn't necessarily mean a governmental ruler, it just means a person with unusual transcendent influence. It's very fascinating that will Elon Musk at the time make an agreement and be willing to share his technology along with others with a certain figure in order to rule with him? It seems very plausible. Again, not a prophet.
Everything that we're doing at Prophecy Watchers is vital because Bible prophecy is coming to pass right before our eyes. And it has never been more important for believers to understand what the Bible says about the days that we are living in. In case you haven't noticed, the whole world is spinning out of control, but we are not surprised because many of the things taking place were prophesied in the Bible thousands of years ago. That's why we want to offer you a very special subscription to our magazine, The Prophecy Watcher, that will keep you on the cutting edge of Bible prophecy. Stay informed on prophetic world events. Follow the nuclear threats from Russia and Iran, China's march to world domination, the likelihood of another global pandemic, the rise of artificial intelligence and transhumanism, war in the Middle East, the UFO phenomenon, and the latest technology preparing the world for the mark of the beast. The Prophecy Watcher magazine features articles from leading prophecy experts like Gary Stearman, Mondo Gonzalez, Thomas Ice, Randall Price, L.A. Marzulli, Bill Salus, and many others. With your gift of $50 or more to support the worldwide outreach of Prophecy Watchers, you will receive 12 issues of the magazine in either print or digital format. You will also receive 10 bonus DVDs that feature in-depth teaching on the ancient book of Enoch, heaven and the New Jerusalem, the biblical case for the rapture, a look at how God put the gospel in the stars, what really happened at the Tower of Babel, and Ezekiel's prophecy on the Battle of Gog and Magog. This special offer is available anywhere in the United States with free shipping included. Don't wait. Pick up the phone right now and call the toll-free number on your screen or visit us at prophecywatchers.tv. Stand with us today and help us take the message of Christ's soon return to the whole world.